Today we are going again to make some line art drawing, and when you don't use many colors in your drawing, you need something to make your drawing not that flat. So there are some techniques like making your drawing using more depth and using the white space. But today there's another technique I want to show, this using the patterns. Patterns are a very good way to create this 3D effect in your drawing. And you can find patterns in clothing, but also in tattoos, like this reference here of Olivia. She has a lot of tattoos. It's very nice to draw, and that helps you to turn your flat line art drawing into something that has a more 3D effect. And it's not needed to draw all the patterns you see in the drawing. Just to give an impression of some of the patterns, and make use of also the fact that if you have a 3D object, the patterns will look a bit more flatter near the edges and much more rounded in the middle. So we can demonstrate this today with a fast sketch. I'll take my pencil and I will draw her upper part of the body of Olivia. Here's her hand. Here's her arm. It's part of her clothing. And as always, you need to think in 3D objects when you are sketching. This will also make your drawings much more developed and in 3D mode. When you think only in tracing the lines you see, you'll get a very flat drawing. So this was a very fast sketch. Let me add some outlining of the of her body, and I'm going to use a brush pen. That gives a bit of a line variation. The brush pen is almost finished. Take a new one, and I'm trying to use the tapering at the end. Tapering is when you make lines where the end is a bit pointy. That gives much more an indication of where the light part is. So the light part should be drawn with small lines, and the shadow part a bit big lines. And if you have a bit line variation in your drawings, it looks much more lively and much more energetic. So this is her arm. Here is our part of her clothing. And here goes this way. I'm using a bit of rhythm lines to make an impression of 3D, but also many parts of the body have this lines where it goes up and down a bit in this wavy S motion. And let's see, a bit of her arm, upper arm, and her hand. I'm drawing now in very fast hand. This way. But still, this drawing looks a bit flat because it's only outlines. And you still don't have an impression that as a real person in there. You just look much more like a comic person, because you only have lines in here and white space. So what can you do to make it a bit more into a 3D structure? Is to add a bit of the patterns. I'm using her tattoos more as an inspiration. It's not my goal to really copy the tattoos, but here in this part, in the middle part, the tattoo is pointing right at us, towards the camera. So here you can really draw what you see in the picture, really in flat image like you would draw normally on a paper. Let's create a skull. Where is a candle? And I really like to play around with these patterns, because when you draw a lot of patterns, you don't need to draw really the good stuff, but it always gives a very much nice visible effect. And you can easily impress people by adding many lines to the paper. So put a pattern in here. So it is a start of a pattern of a skull and some a flying skull. I won't put in the details, but this one is very flat because it's looking at toward us. But here, in her arm here, is also a tattoo, but her arm is pointing towards her left, so in the right of the drawing. So also your pattern should follow the 3D shape of her arm, and her 3D shape is a cylinder kind of in shape. So if you would draw circles or the part of the cylinder, you'll see it's all kind of rounded lines. So if you draw in patterns also on this hand, you should try to follow the lines of her hand. You shouldn't maybe draw exactly what you see, but if you follow her hand, it will immediately give a 3D effects to your drawing. Also, when you're drawing straight lines, the more you come to this side, these lines have to be flatter. So it really helps to give this, it adds to the 3D impression. Like for instance here is a big triangle, but if you're going near to the edges, the triangle will become much more flatter. Because if you're drawing a square here, the square will follow the lines of her arm. But if you come near to the edges, the square will be much more flatter. And these things really helps to add more structure to your drawing. I'm just making up some of the tattoos. You can make accents, you can add blackness, you can do whatever you want. You can make a whole new tattoo experience just by playing around with the lines, adding a bit of the stapling effects. Put pressure on your brushes to make it flatter, thicker and thinner, and all these things will give some more variation and much more liveliness and energy into your drawing. So if you are drawing today in line art or not, I wish you a lot of fun with drawing the patterns, and let's see how it will help you to create a much more 3D impression of your reference. I can't wait what you will create, and hope we will see each other soon.